This is Gary Atensi with CNTV, and today we're in Greenwood Village, Colorado. I am here at Denver Art Glass. Since 1980, they've been provided custom stained glass, leaded glass, art glass for homes, businesses across the Denver area. I'm here with Mike Delva, who is the owner-operator. Mike, really this is something you've been involved in since back in the 70s. You decided to open up in the early 1980s, bring this art to Denver, if you will. Tell me a little bit about how this got started for you.
Well, I was in graduate school at the University of Colorado, and we were in the biology department, so in science, and a friend of mine and I decided to take a course at the Boulder Community Free School in stained glass. This being the late 70s, the age of the hippie. We had the ultimate hippie teacher, and we had a blast. We worked in a studio for about a year and a half, and then decided their concept of what should go out the door and my concept of what should go out the door changed, so opened up my own studio.
Excellent. I mean, colored glass, we can really trace back all the way to the ancient times, Egyptians, Romans, using pieces of glass. Why do you think this type of glass work still remains popular today?
A lot of it has to do with active color rather than transparent or reflective color. Active color is what you see coming through the glass. Reflective color is what you see reflecting off of a surface. And the active color, because you have variation of light intensities, you have variations in color and intensities as well.
Interesting. I mean, this art, as most of us know it, we think of churches or cathedrals, yet that's not the case anymore. It's pretty popular in homes, wine cellars, pretty much across the board out there for people who want to beautify any area. Is the process actually cut glass or more of a painted glass, and has that process changed throughout the years?
The process is still very much the same. We do a combination of cut glass and painted glass. Depending on the application. We do a number of wine cellars where you're looking for a very realistic wine, vine, or grapevine. And then we also do the mosaic theory, which is cut glass so that each individual grape is one piece of glass. So,
regardless of the process, pretty labor intensive, I would say.
Very labor intensive.
I mean, really, I see some of this beautiful work here, and to actually believe this all came from glass is quite amazing. When I think of artisans of glass, I think of hand blowing glass or through a pipe or not. Is that something that is still done today?
It's still done today. In fact, some of the glass that we use is blown glass. What they do is they blow a cylinder, and then once the cylinder is blown, they cut it off the blowpipe and then split the cylinder, lay it out, and that becomes a sheet of glass once it's annealed.
What's amazing about this is just more than just colors on glass. I mean, a lot of times I see in churches really glasses, windows that really depict a story, almost a narrative. A lot of them even have a scripture text on them and whatnot. Is this the type of thing that you're able to do?
We still do some of that. We don't do much in the way of church work along that line. We are working on a project right now where we're not replicating but pulling some ideas from a castle in England that belong to this individual's family, and we're recreating some of the images from those stained glass windows back then.
That's kind of cool to be a part of history that took place back then and really restored today.
It is interesting, and researching some of the history behind the symbols that go into these pieces is quite intriguing as well.
Excellent. One of the things that really showcases this glass is many times it looks like it's sectioned off. What is leaded glass, and how is that effect achieved?
Well, leaded glass is glass that is put together with lead cane. There's also zinc cane and copper cane, but most generally it's lead. There's also another technique that's called copper foiling, and that's used generally for lamps. A lot of people that are teaching stained glass use the copper foil technique because it will cover a lot of mistakes, whereas with lead your cutting has to be very accurate.
When someone is viewing some glass out there, maybe it's something they want to put in their home, how do they differentiate between that of stained glass or art glass? I mean, what's the difference there?
A lot of people refer to art glass as just blown glass, and art glass actually covers a lot more. It's leaded glass, beveled glass, etched glass, anything that has more of an artist style to it than something that's just rolled.
It's amazing under one roof here you're able to touch on so many techniques, like you said, bevel glass, etched glass, even working with crystal repair. This is something that you're known for as well.
We do quite a bit of that, sometimes more than we want to do. We used to do a lot of work for an art gallery in Denver and their clients, and then also a store that sold a lot of crystal, Waterford, that type of thing, and they would have clients bring things in to be repaired, and they couldn't do it there, so they sent them down to us, and the word's kind of gotten out. So.
A lot of beautiful windows in a lot of these historic homes here in Denver. You yourself have been part of the governor's mansion, restoring some of these. Are those fun projects for you to go in and take hold of?
They're very interesting. Fun isn't always the word, but they are always interesting. Some of the projects, we've worked on one set of windows that hadn't been accessed from the backside for over 80 years. And when we got inside behind these windows, we found light bulbs that were, the labels on them were hand lettered as to how many candle power, and they did not have the typical socket that we have today. It had a post that the light bulb screwed onto. So you see a lot of the history. We found notations from some of the construction workers that just wrote on the wall, so-and-so construction company or something like that.
So when you're stepping back in time and restoring something from the past, the word's not fun, but more challenging and fascinating, I would say.
Exactly. I mean, it is enjoyable because you're bringing something that was manufactured 100 years ago back to life again. We had one project down in Colorado Springs that had 255 stained glass windows that needed to be restored. And we had pulled, I think, about 240 of them, and we noticed on one of the frames that there was some writing on it. And they didn't have a history behind the windows as to who made them, but we peeled off the paint over this pencil mark, and we found out that it was done by Copeland Art Glass in Denver back in 1888. 2 years after we finished that, we got a call from New Jersey, a descendant of Copeland, Hugh Copeland, and she wanted to come out and see some of her work, and she was just calling Denver studios to find out if we knew of any work that might have been done by her grandfather. So that was pretty interesting.
Every client is very unique. This is not a cookie cutter approach by any means, very customized approach. Does it all begin normally with a consultation, finding out, and not only that, but educating the consumer what is available?
Exactly. We try to meet with the client at the house or wherever the stained glass is going so that we get a feeling for what the atmosphere is or the environment of where it's going, what type of light we have to deal with, how many shadows, whether they need privacy, whether they're just looking for an aesthetic approach. There's just a lot of factors that are involved in coming to a decision as to what type of design to use.
Has it been rewarding for you, this line of work, something that started back in the 70s, which you said you just had a blast? I mean, really went in and started learning about this. Has it been rewarding, basically restoring a lot of this glass, creating new pieces of art, and really keeping alive something that began in ancient history?
It is very rewarding in that, and enjoyable, primarily because you're not doing the same thing day after day after day. There's always variation. Sometimes not always enjoyable variation, but it keeps it interesting.
Excellent. Viewers, take a look at the bottom of the screen right there. You're going to see their contact information. You will check out their website. We have been showing you many, many pieces of their work, a lot of beautiful arts you can see out there. But just keep in mind, basically anything to do with glass, they're pretty much able to do that here under one roof. If you're not sure, give them a call, set up a consultation, check out on the website the testimonials of places they've been able to help, folks they've been able to come in and basically find this glass that's inside of your home and beautify it once again. Once again, that is the Denver Art Glass since 1980, more than just a stained glass studio. This is Gary Atensi with CNTV, and if you don't know, now you know.